Rachel Coben had spent 19 years being the reasonable one. Reasonable when Mark forgot their anniversary twice. Reasonable when he took the promotion in Denver without asking her first. Reasonable when his mother called her a bit much at Thanksgiving and he said nothing. She was good at reasonable. She'd built a whole life out of it. So when she found the messages, by accident, looking for an insurance PDF on his laptop at 9:47 on a Tuesday night, her first instinct wasn't to scream, it wasn't to cry, it wasn't even to confront him. Her first instinct was to close the laptop, walk into the kitchen, and finish loading the dishwasher. Because Rachel already knew something the messages were about to prove. She just hadn't let herself say it yet. This is the story of what happened in the 11 days between the night she found out and the morning she finally spoke. And it's not the story you're expecting. Let's go back an hour. It was a Tuesday like any other. Mark was traveling for work, Ohio, some regional sales meeting he'd mentioned twice and she'd forgotten the details of. Rachel was home, alone, doing the thing every long married person does eventually, looking for something boring on a shared device. She needed the home insurance renewal. Mark had said it was saved in his downloads folder. It wasn't, but something else was open in a browser tab he'd forgotten to close. A name she didn't recognize. Then a thread of messages going back 14 months. She read 3 of them before she understood what she was looking at. She read 40 more before she let herself feel anything. The woman's name was Dana. She worked at the Cincinnati office, a market coordinator Mark had mentioned exactly once in passing 8 months ago. Sharp, he'd said, good at her job. Rachel remembered nodding and not thinking about it again. The messages weren't dramatic, that was the strange part. No declarations, no plans to run away together, just familiarity, the kind that builds slowly. Good morning texts, complaints about coworkers, a photo of a sunset with the caption, "Wish you were seeing this with me." 14 months of a marriage happening somewhere else. Rachel did the math without meaning to. 14 months ago was 3 months after her mother's funeral, 3 months after the worst year of her life when she needed him the most and he'd started needing someone else instead. She closed the laptop, she loaded the dishwasher, and she did not cry. Because somewhere underneath the shock, a colder, steadier part of her was already thinking one thing. Now I know why he's been like this. Here's what nobody tells you about discovering an affair in your 40s after 2 decades of marriage, with a mortgage and a 16-year-old and a joint checking account. The grief doesn't come first. The planning does. Rachel didn't call a friend that night. She didn't call her sister. She sat at the kitchen table with a legal pad and started writing down facts, because facts were the only thing that felt safe to hold on to. 14 months, Dana Whitfield, 34, Cincinnati office. 3 work trips in that window where Mark had extended his stay. A hotel charge on a card she rarely checked, dated 4 months back for a city he wasn't supposed to be in. By midnight, she had 11 pages. By the second night, she'd done something else, something that would matter more than any of it. She'd called her cousin Denise, a family law attorney 2 states away, and asked her in a voice so calm it scared even her, exactly one question. If I wanted to protect myself before he knows I know, what would I need to do first? Denise didn't ask why, she just started a list. Move half of the joint savings into an account in Rachel's name alone, legal since it was marital property either way, but safer there than accessible to a man who might panic. Photograph every financial document in the house. Find out if the house was solely in his name. It wasn't, thank God. They'd refinanced together in 2019. Talk to no one else yet. For 11 days, Rachel lived 2 lives. The one Mark saw, tired but normal, distracted but explainable, and the one underneath it where she was quietly, methodically taking her life back into her own hands before she ever said a word. She wasn't building a case to destroy him. She was building a floor to stand on so that whatever happened next, she wouldn't fall through it. On day 9, she drove past the Cincinnati office on her way back from a work trip of her own. She didn't go in. She just sat in the parking lot for 4 minutes, looking at the building where her husband had built a second life, and she felt something shift. Not rage, clarity. She wasn't the woman in this story who gets destroyed. She'd decided that already somewhere between page 3 of the legal pad and the phone call with Denise. The only question left was what kind of ending she wanted to write instead. Mark came home on a Thursday. Rachel had thought about this moment 11 different ways. In some versions, she screamed. In some, she showed him the messages one by one, silently, letting him watch himself get caught in real time. In the version she actually chose, she waited until their son was at basketball practice, made 2 cups of coffee, and sat down across from her husband of 19 years like she was about to discuss a repair estimate. "I found the messages with Dana," she said. 14 months. I know about Cincinnati. Mark's face did the thing faces do when a story they've been telling themselves for over a year suddenly has an audience. Denial for about 4 seconds, then something closer to relief, the particular relief of a man who has been carrying a secret so long that even its discovery feels lighter than the carrying. He started explaining the loneliness after her mother died, the distance that had crept in, how it wasn't supposed to become anything. Rachel let him talk for almost 3 full minutes without interrupting. Then she said the sentence she'd rehearsed more than any other in 11 days. "I'm not here to ask you why. I already know why doesn't matter as much as what happens next. And I need you to understand something. I'm not asking you to choose. I already have." She told him about the account, not to hurt him, to inform him, the way you'd inform a business partner of a decision already finalized. She told him she'd spoken to a lawyer. She told him she wasn't leaving the house that week or that month. There was no need to rush into homelessness to prove a point, but that the marriage, as it had existed that morning, was already over. It had ended the moment she read the first message. Everything since had just been her deciding how to leave it with her dignity intact. Mark asked quietly if there was any chance. Rachel thought about her mother's funeral, about the 3 months afterward when she'd needed a partner and gotten a stranger instead, about 14 months of good mornings sent to someone else. "No," she said, "but I want you to know I'm not angry anymore. I used the anger already. I used it for 11 days to make sure I'd be okay. Now I just need you to sign what my lawyer sends you." 6 months later, Rachel sat in a smaller house, hers, entirely hers, purchased with a down payment from money Mark never knew existed until it was already gone from the joint account and into a closing statement with her name on it. Her son had adjusted better than she'd feared. Mark had moved to Cincinnati, unsurprisingly. Dana was, as far as Rachel knew, still there too, now living the life Rachel had spent 19 years building. Rachel didn't think about them often. That was the part that surprised her most, not the anger's absence, but how quickly it had emptied out once she'd stopped needing it. What she kept from those 11 days wasn't bitterness. It was the legal pad. She still had it in a drawer in her new house. 11 pages of a woman deciding, one fact at a time, that she would not be the person this story happened to. She'd be the one who wrote how it ended. Rachel didn't leave because she found the messages. She left because somewhere in those 11 days, she remembered she'd always known how to save herself. She'd just spent 19 years forgetting to use it on herself first.